Hello everyone, I'm day weather meteorologist Don Day with your Public Lands Council weekly weather update for this December 23rd, 2023. Brought to you by WSR Insurance Services Incorporated and also by Ag Risk Advisors. Well, as we head into this Christmas holiday time frame, the weather certainly has gotten a little bit more busy. We saw over the last several days some heavy rains in many areas of the far west, California, especially Southern California, getting a lot of rain, and that's to be expected in an El Nino pattern. California is susceptible to heavy rain at times, and that's certainly what's been the case. But we've also seen some nice rain over the past few days go across Arizona. Now moving into New Mexico, there'll be some snow in the central and northern Rockies and parts of the central and northern plains through this Christmas holiday period, with that wet weather, colder weather shifting to the east by the end of the week next week. So while a lot of the nation has enjoyed some very mild temperatures, and for the most part that will continue, it is going to get a little more stormy, a little bit more wintry over the next 7 days, and we'll see rain returning to the west coast again, especially central and northern California, the Pacific Northwest, by next weekend as we go in and into the New Year's time frame. Now, over the last 7 days, a lot of the northern and central Rockies very dry and also very, very mild, as you can see here. But you can see the rain, the heavy rain, getting into California, as well as, now the map doesn't show it here, but over the last couple of days, very good rain in Arizona and parts of New Mexico. And these areas that are white now will get some precipitation. Look how wet it's been in the southern plains and the far east. And there's more of that wetness coming to those areas. Over the last 2 weeks, even though our snowpack numbers are down, they're well below average, we have seen some snow over the last couple of weeks, and we'll see how those totals get a little bit of boost with the weekend storm that's moving through the west. Here are the very mild temperatures, not like December at all for a lot of the nation over the last week, and this is really the third week in a row we've seen warmth like this, and this is mainly due to strong Pacific jet stream winds flooding the U.S. and Canada with a Pacific air mass, basically blocking any really cold Arctic air to come out of the far northern latitudes. Now, eventually that dam will break, and we'll see the weather changing to colder conditions as we head into the new year. But for a little bit longer, we are going to be looking at some mild weather. Now, it will end up being a white Christmas in many areas of the Intermountain West and the Western High Plains, with snow falling, especially on Christmas Eve into Christmas Day. With this area of storminess shifting into the central areas of the United States, there'll be a lot of rain out ahead of the storm. On the backside of the storm, cold enough for snow. High pressure will bring a little bit of a break to the west coast. California will see some drier weather move in just in time for Christmas and for the beginning of Christmas week, with a lot of the weather that's here in the west shifting to the Midwest, the Great Lakes, and the east by the middle to the end of next week. Then as we get a little bit further down the road, by next weekend, looking ahead towards the time frame of New Year's weekend, we'll start to see fronts moving back into the west coast again, bringing rain and snow back into those areas. Over the next 7 days, for the next week, you can see the heavy precipitation here in the Midwest going back into the central Rockies and the desert southwest, still wet in the Pacific Northwest. You can see all this precipitation in the central and eastern areas of the U.S. On the back side of that system, you can see there may be significant snows as we get into Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, across the northern plains, back into the Rockies, back into the northern areas of the Pacific Northwest, and then later on, the Appalachians, parts of New England, the northeast United States will see some wintry weather move back into those regions. Have yourself a great holiday weekend, a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you next week.